Good morning. I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Some people call me Randy, like my family and coworkers. I'm very excited for this morning's video because it's Speaker Saturday. It can be speaker any day, but today is Saturday and I'm talking about speakers, so I'm going to call it Speaker Saturday. But I've gotten a few requests about this comparison. I was going to do this comparison anyway. I think it is the right thing to do considering these are in the same ballpark of price. So, it's the very famous, and rightly so, Klipsch RP600M versus the beautiful Elac debut reference. So sit down, have some coffee, and let's talk about speakers. Okay, build quality. I'm going to put my coffee right over here so I don't burn myself. Okay, build quality. They both look very nice. However, there is a very big difference between these two speakers in what I would call bracing. Bracing is you put stuff inside the cabinet, makes the cabinet inert, sound like you're hitting on a rock. So, Klipsch doesn't sound like you're hitting on a rock. Kind of that higher pitch means it's more inert. This one, not so much. And I was really surprised because when I took these out of the box and hooked them up, they just didn't feel as solid or as heavy as some of my Elac speakers. Not to say that that makes a huge difference. I can't really tell a huge difference with them. But that's my opinion. And I think it'd be most people's opinion that these aren't braced as well as these are. Oh yeah, listen to this. All right, hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's a big difference. They also, like, the Elac weighs a lot more. How much more, you may ask? Okay. More. Weighs more. Okay, how else do they look? Well, they look kind of similar. They have a cool black baffle and very similar color scheme. Very similar wrap. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would say this is almost the exact same wrap from the exact same manufacturer. The way that the little tiny lines are in there, I don't know if you can see that at all. Anyway, the Elacs have a little tiny rounded edge. These have a sharp edge. The baffles, the Elac baffle is very thin. This is, I don't know, looks like about half an inch. This looks like maybe a 1/4 inch. But again, this one's braced way better. So you can have a thinner baffle and still have a more inert speaker. Inert means that it's not going to have resonance. Resonance means it's specific frequencies. You'll get cabinet what did I just say? Resonance, cabinet resonance, which can mess with the frequency response and the sound. So they both look good. And I mean, this may, I haven't heard any like crazy bad resonances. You notice on the Klipsch you can buy wire or buy amp those. I did buy amp them on my Marantz NR 1711 receiver, which I also have a review on. I did buy amp them. Does it make a difference? I couldn't tell. Will you? I don't know. Maybe. You have the option with the Klipsch. You do not have the option with the Elac. So, for what that's worth. Also, obviously, this is a very large port. I'm gonna stick my whole hand in there. And it's rear facing. This has an equally large port, maybe not as wide. It's front facing. All right. What else? They're both handsome speakers. I like them. I like them both. They both have nice magnetic grills. Personally, I like the Elacs better. And the funny thing is, I actually like, okay, so I like the Klipsch better without the grill on. I like the Elacs better with the grill on. I just like that gray grill. It's very fun. All right, let's pull these back. Yesterday I had some major league focusing issues. All right, so we covered looks. Pretty subjective. Actually, everything in this is subjective, but build and looks is pretty subjective. Well, build isn't. All right, I'm gonna stop. Okay, so let's talk about bass. I watched a video last night because I like to watch a lot of YouTube videos. Now that's shocking. That said the Klipsch have no bass, and that's laughable. Laughable. These are rated down to 44 hertz, and this morning I put them on my tone generator, and I got solid 37, 36, about the same. And I left these in the same position that I had these in yesterday. 37 hertz. To say that that is not enough bass is silliness. This has bass. There's plenty of bass. Actually, I mean, I would give bass response to these as a tie. I think this one's tighter bass. Probably has something to do with the front port. A rear ported speaker can get a little bit sloppy on the bass. It's not sloppy. It's just this is ever so slightly tighter. Yeah. Male vocals. Male vocals is, I would say, a draw. I'd say the Klipsch are a little bit more forward. It depends on what you want, though. As I said in a previous video, if you get these and you just listen to them alone and don't A/B speakers, the voices will have a tendency to come more forward instead of being recessed. If you're A/Bing a speaker, then you can really tell where the voice is at. But all you can tell is this one's more forward than this one. And as you listen to the other one, your brain kind of gets used to it, and it kind of makes everything equal out. So male vocals, pretty much a toss-up for me. Listen to Chris Cornell, of course. He sounded great. He sounded really good. The great thing about Chris Cornell is he's got a classic, male voice, but then he goes up higher. So it's a really good indication of maybe the fuller range of the mid-range. Anyway, I say a tie. Female vocals, win goes to Klipsch. I listened to Alanis Morissette, Uninvited. That's a really good song. And it just she sounded better on the Klipsch. She sounded ever so slightly veiled, if not veiled, on the Elacs. So I'd say female vocals, especially higher vocals, if you listen to a lot of that, Klipsch all the way. That's probably the biggest win that I saw. The biggest difference, or the starkest difference, was on female vocals. Win definitely goes to the Klipsch. All right, male vocals, besides Chris Cornell. And also, this is a test that I do for how forward a speaker is Johnny Cash. Hurt. The Johnny Cash version, not the Nine Inch Nails version. Not saying the Nine Inch Nails isn't an awesome song. It is. But if you have a very forward speaker, Johnny Cash will sound like he's close enough that he's pressing your nose up ever so slightly. Like that. And I don't particularly care for that because I like to have a little bit of personal space. But I'll tell you that Kef Ellis 50s, Johnny was like, see, I could smell Johnny's breath, and I don't want to smell Johnny's breath. He's an older man, and he probably has, I don't know, gingivitis, and it probably doesn't smell. It didn't smell that great. The good news is neither one of these are as forward as the Kef. Klipsch is more forward than the Elacs. If that's something that you like, then the win's going to go to the Klipsch. And I give the win. I even personally for me, I give the win to the Klipsch. So, all right, let's see. Klipsch is female vocals and forwardness. Klipsch. Build quality. Elac. Looks, that's up to you. Bass, tie with edge going to the Elacs because it's a little bit tighter. Okay, instrument separation. I use One by Metallica and the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra off the album S&M 2. Highly recommend that album. So, when it really ramps up at the end, there is a lot going on. And if you can continue to hear the separation, that's a very good sign that your speakers are good at that, obviously. There's chimes, ding, 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 like that. There's a lot going on. They both did admirably well. I will say the Elacs did better. They just did better. It's all there. This is better than, the lower level Elacs for sure, but the debut reference did better. I would say this was similar to the Elac UB5s. I don't know. I'm going to have to A-B the reference in the UB5s. So don't quote me on that. Imaging, I use a couple of different songs. For center imaging, I use Drive In, Drive Out by the Dave Matthews Band. And for me, the beginning of that song, there's a guitar. It should sound like it's coming in the middle and back. So it should sound like it's coming right in between and a little bit further back than your speakers. They both did a good job. Now, getting to imaging from Hey Jude on the Beatles. These do a great job of laying out where each instrument is. These do a pretty good job of center imaging. As far as instrument imaging, I didn't see it as well as the Klipsch. So imaging, I go to the Elac. A song that I use to determine how well a speaker handles higher frequencies is the entire album Saint Anger by Metallica. I know that's a surprise that I'm using Metallica to test speakers, but I do. So when that record first came out, it was almost universally criticized for having a very high tuning on the snare drum. And Lars likes to hit the snare drum. Now, I played the drums, and I understand it was almost like a marching band style of a hit. So if you watch any college football and you hear the way the snare sounds on that record, it sounds very similar to that. And some people found that slightly annoying. I know I did initially. The thing about it is if you have a better balanced speaker, that snare drum is not nearly as pronounced and not nearly as annoying and piercing in your ears. Both speakers did it really well. The Elacs were probably the best for that to, I wouldn't say mitigate it, but just balance it out. But both speakers handled it really, really well. On lower end speakers, that record will sound almost piercing if that speaker leans towards being bright and trebly. So they're both very good. Personally, and this is just me, I prefer the Elac. The reasons why I prefer the Elac is I think it sound stages better. I think it seems wider. And I think it images better. As far as sound goes, you're kind of splitting hairs. They both sound great. The Klipsch sound better with female voices. And I say the Klipsch, the mid-range, is better The top half of the mid-range is really much better on the Klipsch than it is on the Elac. Excuse me. For home theater use, probably the Klipsch. I just changed these out. So the Klipsch have permanent residence in my room. And my room is definitely not an ideal setup for 2-channel listening. It's got a little alcove, and it's I can't get the speakers really wide, and it does a good job. I just switched out because my wife is in the room watching television, and I switched those out for the Elac first generation debut B6s. These, I mean, they should sound way better, but you can really tell the lack of top end mid range on those compared to these from the Elac debut B6s to these. These do better on the upper half of the mid range, but it's just not as good as this. The female vocals just sound better on this. So that kind of sums it up. If I could only keep one, I would keep the Elacs, but I'm keeping both of them because they're both awesome. And again, different strokes for different folks. If you can afford, oh, by the way, these are on sale right now for $430. That's the lowest I've ever seen these. Usually they go on sale for about $480. So $430 for these could sway you. Now I got these open box from Crutchfield for $480. So if you look around, and also here's another tip: when you go to Amazon, look at the Amazon listing and then look down at the bottom and say new and used available for. Click on that link, and Amazon, if it's being sold from Amazon warehouse, chances are it was just a return or something was damaged. And I'm not talking about the speaker, I'm talking about the packaging was damaged in shipment. You can get a good deal. Now, I don't think they carry the full manufacturer warranty, but if you're worried about warranty on a speaker, you probably should think about that. I mean, I've had speakers for 15, 20 years. I've had a little Bose setup that I have just absolutely abused, and it's moved all over the country, and it's got a paper woofer. They sound like the day I got them, and that was 20 years ago. Anyway, I wouldn't worry about a warranty on a speaker unless it's powered. If it's powered, worry about the warranty. If it's passive, don't worry about the warranty. So anyway, you can go to Amazon, look at Amazon warehouse deals. You can often get a much better deal on speakers. And I've bought a lot of stuff on Amazon warehouse, and I have never had any issue, any damage to the actual product. It's just the container may be a little messed up. So anyway, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Please subscribe to this video. It helps me out. We've gotten a good bump in subscribers. I think we are up to about 45, which is good because we only had 28 a few days ago. So please subscribe. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. 100. Let's build the Cheap Audio Man community. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about bringing you the best value in audio, in my opinion. These are expensive, in my opinion. They're $500, $600. And that, again, I said in my video yesterday, that makes me nervous. I think that's a little bit, I wouldn't say excessive. That's about the top end of what I feel comfortable buying. Anything above that, and really even at this price, I start to get very critical. And I want there to be a definite difference between a $300 speaker and a $600 speaker, and there should be. I will say, and I don't mean to poop on the KEF LS50, these are both way better than the KEF LS50, in my opinion, for general, more normal usage. Unless you have like a dedicated listening room for the KEFs and you're doing a near field listening, these just torch. Both of these kill that speaker, and was a $1,500 speaker. The new one, the KEF LS50 Meta, is the same price, I think $1,500. And both of these can be had for a third of that price. And they are both way better than that speaker for my usage, which is listening at about, I don't know, 10 feet away in a regular room without room treatments. Yeah, both really, really good. Which one you get is ultimately up to you and your listening style. Don't believe this doesn't have bass. It does have bass. It has very good bass. Interesting thing about these is with the rear port and a front port, I got about the same bass response at the same distance, which is very surprising and somewhat counterintuitive. But it is what it is. Both good speakers. So I hope you like the video. Please subscribe. It helps me out and it'll help you out. Both of these will be linked in the comments. Dig into those Amazon links and see if there is an Amazon warehouse deal. You can probably have these cheaper. Although $430 for these is the lowest I've ever seen it. So if you're considering getting the RP600M, I'd jump on it at $430. If you use my links, I get a small commission off of that purchase. It doesn't cost you any more, but it helps out the channel. It's going to help me get more products, and I'm going to figure out a way to route those products back to you if I'm not going to keep them. And I really probably won't keep them. Once I start purchasing things with money that comes in through the channel, then I'm going to route it back. And if a listener or a viewer is interested, we'll be able to work out some type of deal. So anything with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed Speaker Saturday. I sure did. So if you're in the U.S., use the links. If you're not in the U.S., use the links. Subscribe, please. If you're in the U.S., watch some college football today. It's going to be great. And enjoy your Saturday. Take some time today. Sit down. Get a cup of coffee or soda or whatever you want to drink. And listen to some music. Listen to something you don't normally listen to. Enjoy it. Just sit back, close your eyes, and enjoy the music. And you can enjoy it even more because you know that you're listening on high-value equipment. That's not causing you to... It's giving you as much joy or even more joy than expensive audiophile stuff. Anyway, that's it.